The importance of faith and understanding. In the letter to the king, Nāgārjuna, the second Buddha who brought the sun of the profound teachings on wisdom from the depths of the ocean to the sky, illuminating countless sentient beings, said, "There are two types of happiness that people seek: temporary happiness in the world and eternal happiness that transcends the world. The key to achieving these two goals, in brief, is faith and wisdom. Those who have faith rely on the Dharma, and those who have wisdom will not have doubts." From this, we can see that faith and wisdom are the essential and fundamental conditions for those who study the Dharma. Next, let's talk about faith and understanding. Number 1. Faith is the root of the way and the source of virtue. So, what is faith? Faith is a pure, steadfast, and inspiring positive belief. There are two types of faith: superstition and rational faith. Superstition is a belief that lacks wisdom. It is blind and emotional. In various non-religious beliefs among people with low levels of education and cultivation, emotional and irrational beliefs dominate. Therefore, Chinese Buddhism is often misunderstood as superstition. This is because many Buddhists in China don't have a good education and cultivation. They blindly follow others and blindly believe, turning Buddhism into a purely emotional belief. Chinese Buddhism has declined to such a state. Very few educated people believe in Buddhism. It is often the uneducated elderly women who believe in Buddhism. That's why Buddhism is often misunderstood as superstition. The biggest characteristic of superstition is blindness, which means they don't examine what they believe and don't analyze whether it is reliable, reasonable, and beneficial. Such believers can rarely tell why they believe it. They often lack independent thinking and the free will to choose. This kind of belief lacks strong theoretical persuasiveness. To maintain their belief system, they can only rely on coercive or deceptive means, or blind emotions. In such belief systems, followers are expected to obey without questioning and are not allowed to exercise freedom of choice. Moreover, such belief systems require their followers to be as ignorant as possible. They don't allow their followers to ask questions, voice objections, or point out issues in their teachings. Followers are only allowed to absolutely believe. Only when followers are ignorant and lack independent personality can they maintain their belief system. Actually, there was a period of time when Chinese Buddhism also became like this. Those who stay in the temples don't understand the Dharma, let alone those who visit there to burn incense. Isn't it the case when you visit the temples nowadays? Those who manage the temples might wear monastic robes, but do they understand any Dharma? It's just blind faith. However, there are still highly accomplished practitioners in China, although they often remain low-profiled, perhaps waiting for the right moment, just like the case of Mahayana Buddhism. Only when Nāgārjuna came to the world, which was 500 years after the Buddha's teachings emerged, did Mahayana Buddhism gradually arise. The faith in Buddhism is completely opposite to superstition. In fact, the current situation of Chinese Buddhism mostly aligns with the author's description. There are very few genuine believers. This applies to both monastics and laypeople. Many monastics are superstitious. Instead of studying the Dharma, they engage in occult things. Neither monastics nor laypeople truly understand the Dharma. This is the situation in the Buddhist community, full of superstition. Now, a bit of authentic Dharma gradually arises, but its influence is still weak. The genuine faith in Buddhism is a belief based on right understanding, where one confirms its reliability and profound value through analysing and discerning with wisdom. In the letter to the king, Nāgārjuna said that genuine faith in Buddhism is not driven by 4 factors. These 4 drives refer to being driven by greed, driven by anger, driven by ignorance, and driven by fear. Drive means driving one to believe or abandon their beliefs. Being driven by greed means that driven by greed, one starts to believe or abandon their beliefs. Being driven by anger means that in order to defeat or seek revenge against a person or a certain power, one decides to believe or abandon their beliefs. In other words, the decision to believe or abandon their beliefs is driven by the intention to defeat or seek revenge against someone or something. Being driven by ignorance means that driven by ignorance, one starts to believe or abandon their beliefs. Being driven by fear means that due to fearing a certain power, one is forced to believe or abandon their beliefs. In summary, any faith that is influenced by greed, anger, ignorance, fear, and similar factors is not the genuine faith advocated by Buddhism. Please pay attention to this statement. Many people need to hear it. The 3 conditions for genuine faith. Number 1, purity. Genuine faith is the reverence that arises from a pure mind. Number 2, certainty. It is the unwavering belief free from doubts that arises from confirming its correctness and reliability. Number 3, aspiration. It is the longing, admiration, and pursuit that arises from recognizing the sublime and inspiring value of the object of faith. From these 3 characteristics of genuine faith, we can see that the faith advocated by Buddhism is always grounded in wisdom and reason. Of course, faith also requires sincere, fervent, profound, and sublime emotions. It is exactly these sublime emotions that drive you to wholeheartedly dedicate yourself to the cause of your faith, making sacrifices and commitments without hesitation. This firm and profound faith is not only the foundation of all virtues, but also the driving force behind all virtuous actions. Therefore, it is called the root of faith and the power of faith. Sincere faith can give rise to incredible miracles. That's why in the Vajrayana tradition it is said that sincere faith and adherence to the precepts are the root of enlightenment. In the Tantras it is stated, sometimes individuals with dull faculties have devout faith and are therefore able to swiftly attain good accomplishments. You all have dull faculties, but don't be afraid. As long as you have sincere faith, you can swiftly achieve good spiritual accomplishments. This illustrates the importance of faith. Dull faculties refers to individuals with lower intellectual qualities and poor reasoning abilities. Sometimes those with dull faculties have simple thoughts, unlike clever individuals who are easily swayed by various knowledge and wrong views, and tend to succumb to the disease of doubt. Individuals with dull faculties, however, can easily attain spiritual accomplishments due to their devout faith. People may ask, Buddhism emphasizes discernment through wisdom and reason. But why do individuals with dull faculties have devout faith and can swiftly attain accomplishments? We need to discern whether a theory or knowledge is correct and reasonable. However, if previous practitioners have already verified certain knowledge, those who use it don't need, nor is it possible, to verify everything again. Doing so would only waste time and energy. Moreover, the journey of Dharma practice itself is an effective way of improving rational discernment and cultivating wisdom. In general, if a teaching is based on sutras, tantras, or the commentaries of renowned Buddhist masters, and if the teacher possesses reliable knowledge and virtue, and is a reliable lineage holder of the teaching through instruction and practice, then it is reliable. Therefore, if an individual with dull faculties is accompanied by a good spiritual teacher and good Dharma friends, and receives the authentic Dharma, practicing diligently and sincerely, they are more likely to attain good accomplishments than the more knowledgeable individuals who are contaminated by doubts and thoughts. In terms of the phrase, receive the authentic Dharma, if the Dharma is available in the world, it is easier. However, in the Dharma-ending age, as a person with dull faculties, if you don't know who is right and who is wrong, you may run into trouble. In such situations, you may have to rely on luck and follow whomever you encounter. Since you are dull, you cannot tell what is right and what is wrong. In the Dharma-ending age, it's better to have wisdom and sharper faculties. To be honest, one's root of faith is cultivated from past lives. If you have learned the authentic Dharma in your past lives, you would immediately recognize heretical teachings once you encounter them. Those heretical teachings won't deceive you because you have roots of virtue from past lives. Upon entering their place, even without listening to their teachings, you will instantly sense that it is not the authentic Dharma. Although your general faculties are dull, your root of faith is strong, so you can identify cults right away. Such individuals' analytical abilities may not be strong, but they can make quick progress in their spiritual practice, because once they encounter the authentic Dharma, they practice diligently and sincerely. Too much thinking and analysis may obstruct spiritual practice. This is because people with sharp faculties often have a broad range of experiences. Hence, their brains are like a grocery store filled with various goods, and their minds are like a white paper painted with various colours. Without special conditions and wisdom, it's difficult for such people to develop a pure and clear faith in their minds. That's why individuals with dull faculties but firm faith sometimes make faster progress than individuals who have sharp faculties and a broad range of experiences. Nowadays, there are numerous Dharma practitioners, but very few attain high achievements. The main reason for this is the lack of virtue. Among all virtues, the lack of faith is the root cause. Nowadays, in the Dharma-ending age, sentient beings don't lack wisdom, but lack virtue. There is a lack of virtuous practitioners everywhere. Before you decide to believe in someone or something, you should make careful choices and not believe rashly. Once your faith arises, you should hold firm to it and not be half-hearted. The Buddha once said to his disciples, "Life can be lost, but the precepts must not be abandoned." Moreover, he said, while the precepts can be abandoned, faith must not be abandoned. In the above, faith is also described in this way. Before you decide to believe in someone or something, you should make careful choices and not believe rashly. If your root of faith is not strong enough, you may blindly believe in anyone you encounter. This is not right. You need to carefully observe for a period of time. If your root of faith is strong, you won't have any problems. If you have always been a monastic in past lives, you definitely won't run into such problems. If you come across non-Buddhist teachings, you might take a look or explore out of curiosity, but you won't genuinely study and practice their teachings. When you encounter the authentic Dharma, you will immediately generate faith because you have cultivated faith in your past lives. In the beginning, you need to make careful choices, such as when choosing which spiritual path to follow. After entering the Buddhist path, you also need to be careful in choosing which teacher to follow. Once you have developed deep faith in a teacher and followed them, you should hold firm to your faith and not be half-hearted. This is difficult to say definitively. I believe that some teachings can be confirmed as they are widely recognized. For example, what we study are all teachings from recognized masters. So, there should be no mistake. What teaching have we learned that is not from a recognized master? I have made it clear to you. Therefore, you don't need to be half-hearted. All the teachings we learn here come from recognized masters, and not just one. The teachings given by all these masters are consistent and coherent without contradictions. You can discern it even with your own level of faith. It is clearly stated that our faith is insufficient. In the Dharma-ending age, sentient beings lack faith, making it difficult for them to generate faith in the Guru and the three jewels. When we take refuge in the three jewels, we need to take refuge in a specific person, which is the Guru. The Guru represents the three jewels, so it is important to cultivate faith in the Guru. Even though you claim to have faith in the three jewels, if you don't have faith in a specific person, you still lack faith. You may say you have faith in the Buddha, but where is the Buddha? You don't have the merit to see him. Shakyamuni Buddha is the three jewels, but you have missed the opportunity to encounter him. The Buddha is the three jewels and our fundamental teacher, but in the phenomenal world he is no longer present. Therefore, when you enter the Buddhist path, it's essential to have a teacher. When you take refuge in the three jewels, you must first have a teacher. Otherwise, which three jewels do you take refuge in? Faith is reflected here. You may say, I have faith in the Buddha, Dharma and Sangha, but where is the Sangha? Without a teacher, you haven't truly taken refuge in the three jewels. If you don't have a teacher, what are you taking refuge in? This is why a refuge master is essential in Buddhism. In the beginning, when the refuge master transmits the refuge vows to you, you need to believe that he is one of the three jewels. Otherwise, how can you receive the refuge vows from him? The three jewels should be represented on a specific person, and that person is undoubtedly the teacher you follow. Therefore, when you take refuge, it's essential to have a teacher. You may claim to have faith in the three jewels, but without a specific person, how do you believe, and whom do you put your faith in? If you say you have faith in a statue, can you achieve spiritual attainments through it? In fact, you won't generate genuine faith in this way. Such faith is not genuine and not sufficient. Moreover, you may have faith in the sutras, but you cannot truly understand them on your own, as we will discuss later. Number 2. Wisdom is the mother of Buddhas and the gateway to liberation. The Prajnaparamita Sutra is called the Sutra of the Mother of Buddhas. In the Ornament of Clear Realization, Maitreya referred to wisdom as the mother of the hearers, solitary realizers, Bodhisattvas and Buddhas. He also referred to the hearers and others as the four children of wisdom. The Prajnaparamita Sutra describes wisdom as the only gateway to liberation. The genuine jewel of the Dharma among the three jewels refers to wisdom. From these teachings, we can see how Buddhism values wisdom. Wisdom can be essentially divided into two types. One is conceptual wisdom, which is worldly, and the other is non-conceptual wisdom. Conceptual wisdom refers to the intelligence that uses words and abstract concepts as objects of thought, and lacks direct insight. Any mental image formed in the human brain is vague and fragmented, unlike objects directly seen with eyes, which are complete, concrete, and real. The mental concept of a person is not a real person, but an imagined person. That's why it is called worldly wisdom. Non-conceptual wisdom includes the direct perception of the five senses, such as visual perception, and direct insight like dreams. This type of wisdom doesn't rely on language, theories, or analysis. Hence, it is non-conceptual. The meditation wisdom of individuals above the path of seeing is non-conceptual wisdom. In other words, it is the ability to directly abide in no self in person, no self in phenomena, or the true nature of reality during meditation. The post-meditation wisdom is conceptual worldly wisdom. The definitions, classifications, and functions of these two types of wisdom are explained clearly in the chapter on knowledge in the treatise on Buddhist logic. Here, I would like to discuss the cultivation and application of wisdom. There are two types of human wisdom, innate and acquired. Without innate spirituality, the impact of mere acquired learning is limited, just like a stone can never be sharpened into a blade, no matter how hard you try. On the other hand, without cultivation after birth, the innate spirituality won't work, just like a pearl buried underground can never shine. If you have a stone knife, then no matter how hard you work, you cannot sharpen it into a blade. Without steel, you cannot forge a good blade. Decayed wood cannot be carved into something useful, and even if it is carved, it is useless. Therefore, innate qualities, such as the potential you have, are very important. However, even if you are a pearl, if you are buried underground, it still doesn't work. You still need to be developed. Only by fully developing and cultivating ourselves, allowing the internal factors to grow with the support of external conditions, can we emit a brilliant light of wisdom. In the Buddha's teachings, the inherent luminous mind refers to our innate wisdom, like the source of light. This luminous mind itself is neither good nor bad. The inclination towards good or bad is produced by the afflictions, habits, and actions that arise from the deluded mind. The innate luminous spirituality, or the root of wisdom of a person, is like a jade wrapped in a rock. It needs to be extracted from the rock and then carved by skilled artisans into an exquisite Buddha statue. After it is carved, its value will far surpass that of the jade itself. The carving of wisdom refers to learning and practicing, which is known as listening, meditating, and practicing in Buddhism. So, if a jade is buried underground, it is useless. If it is extracted but then broken or fails in the carving process by an unskilled artisan, it will also be ruined. The entire process is very important. All genuine wisdom requires cultivation through listening, meditating, and practicing. Any wisdom is the result of learning and practicing, and the accumulation of knowledge and experience. Some innate extraordinary wisdom and abilities are the result of study and practice from countless past lives. They are the wisdom accumulated life after life. The so-called shortcut in the Vajrayana tradition is a special shortcut on the journey of spiritual practice. There has never been a qualified spiritual teacher or enlightened being who achieved accomplishments without learning. As Lama Atisha said, life is short, yet the realm of knowledge is vast, and we don't know how long we will live. Therefore, we should choose to absorb the knowledge that we need the most, just like a swan extracts milk from the water. This means that we cannot learn all knowledge in one lifetime. Thus, we need to focus on learning the most important and essential knowledge.